And I ended up having to call my mom the next day in tears because I said, Mom, I made it in the LA Times. And she said, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I said, for losing.
Leadership is everywhere. In our work, in our family, in our community. We see leaders by their actions. We know their legacy. This podcast is about leaders, people just like you, doing amazing things every day. I hope these stories inspire you, they motivate you, and they fuel your leadership legacy. My name is Vicki Guy. Welcome to Ignite. Welcome to Ignite. Today we begin a 3-week spotlight on the keynote speakers for the upcoming Inspiring Women's Leaders Conference in Gainesville, Florida, March 8th through the 10th. In this first episode, we tackle why the time is now with Jennifer Magley. If you have ever played a sport like Jennifer has, then you probably have seen the parallels between being on a sports team and being on a work team. So many topics have come to my mind, such as overcoming obstacles, working with others, getting feedback, coaching, or resolving conflict. Today, our guest Jennifer Magley will share how she draws on her experience in sports to find excellence in her work. Jennifer is a former collegiate and professional tennis player and coach, at one point holding the #1 rank in college tennis. As she prepares to visit the University of Florida's Inspiring Women's Leaders Conference, she stopped by Ignite to remind us that now is the time to go for what we want today. In just a moment, we'll be back with Jennifer Magley.
The IT Pro TV app is available for iOS and tvOS. The modern user interface makes navigation easy. Recently watched videos can be found on the home screen, as well as our daily live streams. Choose landscape mode for larger viewing. Access the entire course library by clicking on the play icon. Navigate our content by category, certification, and job role. Learn where you want and when you want as a premium annual member by downloading episodes for offline viewing. Watch on the go and pick up later on any of your favorite devices. So head to the App Store and download the IT Pro TV app.
Welcome back to Ignite. We're here today with Jennifer Magley. Jennifer, welcome to Ignite. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me, Vicki.
You are very welcome. I'm so excited because just in a very short amount of time, we are going to see you at doing a keynote talk for a women's conference. You live in, I want to say, Indianapolis?
Yes,
yeah.
I'm here in central Indiana in the Hoosier State.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a lot colder here than it is there right now in Florida.
Yeah, so you'll be coming down to Florida to the University of Florida to do a keynote talk for the 2020 Inspiring Women's Leaders Conference, which is March 8th through the 10th, and we're super excited to have you there. So what will you be sharing? What will you be talking about to kind of kick off that keynote?
Yeah, so this will be the first time in a long time I'm coming back. I am a UF alumni and former student athlete, so coming home to the swamp is exciting. And I'll be sharing about how now is the time.
So tell us a little bit about, without giving away what that means, because I don't want to steal from your thunder on stage, but just for people that are listening to the podcast, give us a little bit of background on now is the time. Like, what is the inspiration for it? What is kind of the overall arching, concept that you're wanting to deliver?
Yeah, essentially, I see myself as a storyteller. And that's really what I do as a speaker is I'm talking and I'm telling the story. And as a coach, I'm listening. And I'm always trying to figure out if I'm doing both at the right time. So that's the trick to what I do. And sharing about the inspiration that I'm going to bring is that there's no other day like today to go for it. And what's unique about now being the time is that all of the things that we've been through and our obstacles have really propelled us to be resilient enough to seize the day. So that's a little bit about what I do as a speaker and as a coach and what you can expect. It's going to be highly interactive and engaging, and I just cannot wait.
Excellent. Well, we are excited to have you here and back in Gainesville and Gator Country to share some of those stories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I want to back up just a little bit, though, and kind of rewind, because you went from a collegiate athlete, and now you are a speaker, coach, and you also work for CSM Sports and Entertainment. Tell us a little bit about how you've made that transition. I know you were a professional athlete as well, and even in coaching in a professional setting. So tell us a little bit about your journey in terms of how that has progressed over the years.
Right. A lot of fond memories at the Swamp. We actually won a national championship, and it was really cool because we won it at home. And from there, I played professionally and had a lot of fun out on tour. It wasn't a long career, but that led into coaching. And I was an NCAA Division I head coach, and I loved that. I was doing that for about I did that for a total of 6 years. I was at Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers, and then had some babies, became a stay-at-home mom, and decided to have my own business. And that was wonderful, and did that for 5 years. And that really taught me how to communicate and make the most with the little that I had. So I'm just really grateful for my journey. Got to meet a lot of cool people as a coach, working with executives and business owners. So my story is one that is central to Gainesville, and Gainesville's a big part of my life throughout, from athlete to owner, and now to working at a sport entertainment company that's a global company. I'm super pumped.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear a bit more about that, but just to clarify for our listeners, you were a tennis player, and that's the sport. That was the sport that you were in, and being certainly not a collegiate nor a professional tennis player, I know how many lessons that we can learn from the game of tennis. It can be humbling, it can be frustrating, it can be exciting. What would you say has been, or can you think of a time that you've learned the biggest lesson from the game of tennis, whether it be as a player or a coach, that has really kind of motivated you to go into more of a speaking role, a coaching role, and now working with CSM?
Yeah, I've got to say that not reaching your goals has to be one of the hardest things out there. You know, you dedicate 8 to 10 hours a day sometimes training for your sport. And while other kiddos are having cake at birthday parties and swimming in a pool, you know, a lot of my childhood memories are being on a tennis court. So not becoming number one in the world, which is pretty much every tennis player's goal, taught me how I can be resilient in life. Mm-hmm. And that transition is not always graceful, but it's something that is hard to swallow when your identity is wrapped up in a sport. So when you stop with that sport, that's when life really begins.
Mm. So can you give us an example of what you mean? I mean, can you think of a time where you just put it all out there on the court and you thought, this is now my time, and perhaps it didn't work out, but you learned some valuable lessons. Can you think of a time that you can share?
I have plenty of times where I've missed the mark. So I was ranked number one in the nation, NCAA Division I tennis, and I was playing at Florida. I was so excited, really proud. And I go out to All-American in Los Angeles, which is one of our more glamorous events in college tennis. And I ended up having to call my mom the next day in tears because I said, "Mom, I made it in the LA Times." And she said, "Oh my gosh, that's wonderful." I said, "For losing." And it was the first time the number one seed had ever lost the first round of the All-American tournament. So it is so humiliating to go and put yourself completely out there and to be vulnerable and to show your emotions and just to stink it up. There's nothing more humbling than that. Yeah.
That resilience, I know, has taken you a long way. On the flip side, though, you probably have had times where you've had great success. Obviously, become number one, right? That's right. Not an easy feat. Was there a time where you had a big win, and that was maybe the one win that kind of changed the way you think about the game or changed the way you operate today?
Boy, one win. I'd have to say winning that national championship as a team. So in tennis and golf, they're the only sports where money exchanges hands ever since you're a child. So, you know, little Susie's able to fire her coach since she's 5 years old. You have that kind of mentality that's transitioning into a team sport. It can be challenging. So the fact that my teammates at Florida, we were able to come together and win that championship, it was the most wonderful feeling to be able to accomplish that with other human beings. You know, it wasn't just for once myself. Mm-hmm. It was a team.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of learnings that go into that in terms of, when you're competing solo and then you're competing with somebody and your success depends on their success and vice versa. I know a lot comes into play. Have you found parallels in the work that you're doing now, coaching business owners or speaking to groups of people or working with CSM? Have you seen some parallels in terms of operating as a single, like maybe a singles player moving into like a doubles player or a team win? Have you seen some parallels there?
Yes, I have. So with CSM, what I was really attracted to was, besides the fact that they're this company that has wonderful properties or clients like Netflix and Amazon and HBO, was really their commitment to excellence and to think outside of the box and to be extraordinary. So it was the people behind CSM that attracted me and made me say, you know what, I want to join something that's bigger than myself so I can have a broader impact. And it's just been wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
And what do they do specifically? What's the business model or the goal of CSM?
Yeah, they manage events. They also do a lot of marketing. So for example, what I do in brand partnerships, for example, one of our clients, Netflix, wanted to have a Netflix and chilled event. So they go out and they get a partner in Ben & Jerry's, and they just had that event a couple days ago. And Netflix and chilled, it was the perfect marriage. So I'm able to help connect brands in a public place and in a creative way. So you're able to see those brands working together.
So I bet that's pretty exciting because you're working with some great brands and national companies or maybe even international companies, helping connect the dots. But I want to talk a little bit more about what you've been doing the last few years to get you to the point where you can successfully make those connections.
Yes.
How has either the coaching or the playing of a sport helped you help other people achieve their goals? Because you talked about resilience, you talked about, obviously winning as a team. What are some lessons that you've learned that you can translate from sports over into maybe even a corporate setting?
I think the biggest thing is work ethic and the ability to receive no and continue to move on. So when you've had coaching and feedback and really criticism ever since you were 3, 4, 5 years old, you're actually excited to get that feedback because to me it means that they care about me. And I think that's what sports can really set you up for, is how to overcome obstacles. And really also what you learn inadvertently through sports is that life is not a meritocracy, right? It's not going to be that you put in all the work and that equals the perfect life or the perfect results. And sports teach you that. You think it's the other way around. You think if you do everything just right, you're going to get the perfect result, and just doesn't always come out of the oven what you think it's going to be.
Yeah. Again, I can relate. I feel like I put a lot of time into my tennis game.
Yes.
And it just doesn't. The needle's not moving.
It's a dysfunctional relationship, right?
Yeah. So, have you worked with people, in your career that where they've been stumbling over, maybe they've put in the work and they have done all the things that you've coached them to do or you've inspired them to do? Have you ever worked with somebody who they've done all those things and they're still just not reaching their goals? Have you had a situation like that, and how did you help them?
Yeah, so I actually have been in that position myself. And the thing that most helped me is this tool called the immunity map. And it was developed by 2 Harvard professors that looked at a study where a doctor told 100 patients, cardiac patients, if you don't change the way you live, in 1 year, you're going to die. And Vicki, a year later, only 1 in 14 of those people changed. So these professors said, what is this immunity to change that even faced with death, they're not doing it, and they created this thing called the immunity map.
Interesting. I'm going to have to look that up.
So,
yeah. So
the concept is we've got 1 foot on the gas, but we unknowingly have 1 foot on the brake. And it's a little more than self-sabotage because we're not aware of what our foot on the brake really is. And so in that case, when I have a lot of coaching clients, executives, owners that come to me, they're in that transitional space where they say, gosh, I should have more to show for all of the work that I'm doing. Or maybe they know something's next. They don't know exactly what. that's the modality that really helped me break through and also helps a lot of people around the world.
I bet having that blind spot of not knowing what's kind of holding us back, it can be pretty lethal. It can definitely stop us in our tracks for sure. So one of the things that you and I have talked about in the past, previously, is about asking questions. And I know that questions, you feel very passionate about the power of questions. Give us some insight into your thoughts on why questioning and asking the right questions is so powerful.
So I feel that asking questions and also the ability to negotiate are two of the most important skills that specifically as women, we're not encouraged to pursue. And the ability to ask a question at the right time and in the right way is so tremendously powerful. So I really am fixated and focused on reading books that have a lot to do with story and question asking. Like Warren Berger's A More Beautiful Question is a great place to start.
A More Beautiful Question. Is that a book?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's awesome. So, for example, if you find yourself meeting someone for the first time and you, instead of asking, tell me, what do you do? Maybe consider asking, what are you most excited about right now?
So more open-ended questions instead of those closed questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's the biggest part about building a story and connecting with another person is allowing them to have the space to answer something that can become a bit compelling and more importantly, memorable, because that's what you're wanting in a connection is you're wanting them to remember you.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer that the human connection is really where most progress occurs, whether it's in personal growth or in a corporate setting in business. And I vividly remember I had a colleague once who said to me, if I am in a situation where I'm meeting somebody for the first time and they don't ask me any questions about myself, I'm out the door. And I'll never forget that, because I think what this person verbalized is what a lot of people may feel but not even know, that when you meet somebody for the first time and they have no interest in making that connection and learning a little bit about us, then it's pretty off-putting. And I think what you're saying is that you've seen that over and over again in some of the experiences that you've had as well.
There's a lot of opportunities out there to ask questions that are going to penetrate past that level that none of us really enjoy. None of us really like having long discussions about the weather or traffic or anything quite like that. So the questions that you'd ask, for example, even when you go into a year-end review, are so incredibly important. For example, is there any reason why I wouldn't get this promotion? And allowing them to articulate if there is a reason, so then you can overcome that obstacle and overcome that objection.
So where did you learn this? Where did you learn this skill? Because it is a skill. I think that sometimes it's not innate for people to ask, not just ask questions, but ask them in the way that you're phrasing them. How did you learn it? So
I'm kind of, I believe that we all are a slave to habits. So why not be a slave to good habits? It's a great Og Mandino quote. And so my habit that I have picked up is reading. And this year, my goal is to read over 110 books. So I'm at about 15. It's the new year, but I have 15 per month. So that's how I've picked it up, is just really being passionate about what I don't know. And also it started off with admitting, hey, I don't really know what I don't know. So let's just go for it.
Yeah. Reading is such a great skill. Do you read the book or do you read on like a Kindle? What is your preference?
Yeah, so I'm super thrifty. I get all of my books from the library, and I also do the audio books from the library as well. There's a great app, and it's a national app. It's called Libby, and you can put your library card in. I sound like such a nerd. You can put your library card in, and you can see that for free. So
love it.
Yeah, while you're driving, you're just, and I'll say this: if we are upgrading our phone and we want the latest technology all the time, why not upgrade our minds? Why not give ourselves, version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 every single morning?
Yeah. Certainly reading, listening to podcasts, just opening up
Watching
our mind.
Ignite.
Watching Ignite, yeah. All of that stuff. Thank you. All of that stuff is just, it helps us grow, and it helps us just expand the way we think, and hopefully the way we operate in the long run. So we're excited to have you in Gainesville. We're excited to have you at the conference. What is one thing, if you want to leave people today with one thing to consider about their own journey, taking their own experiences like you've taken from tennis and moving that into a career, what advice would you give to somebody that you'd want to leave them with, that you think, well, this is what I'm all about? What would that one piece of advice be?
It would be know exactly what you want. Whew. And one of the sayings that I have is, I know, when I'm unstoppable when I know what I want and why. So I am unstoppable when I know what I want and why, and you are.
Love it. Love it. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for being on Ignite, and we look forward to seeing you very soon back in Gainesville. And after just a few moments, we'll be back with some final words on Ignite.
Are you a career changer or a budding tech pro who's looking to start their career in IT? I'm Wes Bryan, and along with my fellow IT Pro TV edutainer Cherokee Boos, we've just shot a new show just for you. Each week, we'll dive into topics to help you launch your career in tech. Watch how to get started in IT on YouTube now. Just head to youtube.com/ITProTV to watch, and look for new episodes every Saturday at 9 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time.
Welcome back to Ignite. We hope you enjoyed bits of wisdom from Jennifer, and we look forward to seeing you at the UF Inspiring Women's Leaders Conference, March 8th through the 10th. Thanks for listening to Ignite. Please like us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and please subscribe to YouTube or Apple Podcasts. From all of us at Ignite, we'll see you next time.